Please welcome Alison Marianelli to present her RHOBARR Barrier Dispersions platform.
Thank you for that introduction. It's an honor to be here and have been selected as a finalist for the Create the Future Design Contest. And I'm really excited to talk with you today and tell you more about the RHOBARR Barrier Dispersions platform. But first I want to tell you a little bit about who we are at Dow. Dow is a material science company with over 120 years of experience. We're made up of about 35,000 employees across 31 different sites across the globe. Our ambition is really to be the most innovative, customer-centric, sustainable, and inclusive material science company in the world. And one of our key purposes is to deliver a more sustainable future through our material science expertise, but also in partnership with our key industry partners. And I think the RHOBARR Barrier Dispersions platform is really a testament to putting that purpose into action. So why paper packaging? Paper is both compostable and biodegradable. It is really widely recycled, much more so than other common packaging materials. And a really important part here is that the infrastructure is really widely available. And so consumers both know that they should recycle paper, but also where and how to recycle paper. Unfortunately, there's a key functional gap, which is that paper inherently by itself does not have any of the barrier performance that it needs to exist in the food packaging space. And so in 2022, the market for kind of functional and high performance coatings in order to enable food packaging based on paper was worth over $9 billion. So there's a really strong industry demand for these kind of high performance coatings. Unfortunately, the technical trick here is that we're working with quite a bit of complexity in terms of all of the jobs protect and preserve the contents of the packages from the environment. So think water, oxygen, things that could lead to food spoilage long term. It needs to do all of that functionality while still retaining those key sustainability parameters that we just talked about. Otherwise, we've kind of undone any benefit that we have brought in through the use of paper-based packaging. And then finally, we need to do all of that while we manage the packaging economics, and so making sure that our solutions are still affordable and cost-effective. Conventionally, some of the ways that these barrier performance have been imparted to paper is through something called either fluorocarbon treatment or extrusion coatings. Fluorocarbon treatment is something that's done in the pulp end, so before you even make the paper, individual paper fibers are actually treated to prevent wetting prior to turning those fibers into a sheet of paper. Traditionally, this has been a really cost-effective method, but as new regulations come out regulating away the use of specific fluorocarbon materials, the cost for this treatment has increased. Additionally, both the production and the use of these fluorocarbon-treated materials risks the release of fluorocarbons into the environment, which is something that is very much concerned in the public eye today. On the other hand, extrusion coatings enable us to form a protective film on top of an already formed sheet of paper. And so what this does is we take a molten film, adhere it to paper, and then get a protective coating or barrier. This is a cost-effective method that gives us really strong barrier performance, but it also requires thick coatings. And those thick coatings can negatively impact how recyclable the final end-use product will be. So Dow Coating Materials has spent most of its time and expertise in this third category of waterborne coatings. So these waterborne coatings are aqueous polymer dispersions that we can apply to the top of a formed sheet of paper, and as they dry, they form a really ultra-thin, defect-free film that gives us that performance and protection on the paper surface. Because these films can be applied without the use of solvents, they dry quickly and they form these ultra-thin films. They're designed for better recyclability, and they are designed to actually reduce material use. So how do the RHOBARR barrier platform dispersions work? We start out with an aqueous polymer dispersion made of these film-forming polymer particles. As we apply them to a coated or to a sheet of paper using a wide range of already existing coating equipment. And then as we dry them, water evaporates. As water further evaporates, we start to get particle deformation. And then finally, we actually get polymer chain diffusion between these particles, leading to an irreversible film formation. That film is an ultra thin, so think on the order of like 15 microns, something like the size of a piece of cotton fiber. Defect-free film that then enables that barrier performance on a coated sheet of paper. But Dow is not the only company playing in this space or developing materials in this space. And so what sets us apart from the others? And it's really three key components or keys to success. The first one is materials, formulation, and process expertise that enables us to deliver really high performance materials. So we have the synthetic knowledge in-house to understand how to tune our polymer compositions to hit that performance balance that we need to. But we also have formulation know-how that then enables us to even level up and further optimize performance. We combine that with proprietary process technology that's actually enabled us to broaden our polymer toolkit, so we have a wider range of materials that we can work with to make these film-forming polymer particles. Second to that, we also have really crucial connections across the value chain, and that enables us to work with converters, paper producers, end-use customers to really evolve with the market, to hear what they are asking for, and to be able to work real-time to reiterate on our product performance. And then finally, I noted in the introduction that we have 31 different sites across the globe. Our global reach and our scale really enable us to broaden our impact by focusing and understanding regional concerns, regional demands, but also being able to focus and support scale up in the places where these products are being used. So the current commercial line of RHOBARR barrier products consists of waterborne barrier coatings that are both repulpable and recyclable. They have a broad range of food contact compliance, and they are able to be applied using already existing coating materials and coating technologies. So it enables them to be developed and applied rapidly and very easily across the globe. From a sustainability and environmental standpoint, the products that are already commercialized in our platform offer a range of different kind of sustainability facets, including bio-based content, lower coating weights than incumbent materials and technologies, third-party certifications for things like recyclability, repulpability, but also in some cases even safety for use in microwaves and ovens, and so now being able to reheat or heat up these coatings as well. And currently the product line offers barrier coatings that protect against hot and cold liquids, oil and grease, and mineral oil fatty acid barriers. We also have materials in the development pipeline to work on gas barriers, so think about things like oxygen resistance, moisture vapor, that would lead to longer term shelf-stable packaging. And so what we've really been able to do here is kind of start out by listening broadly to the global market and think about what was asked of us, what is being demanded, what the gaps were. We developed a first generation of material products and then continuously iterated with our value chain partners to understand what things we needed to then go ahead and develop our second generation materials. We are going to continue working on that by responding and refining our product offerings to be able to continue to allow customers to get high performance barrier coatings that will ultimately reduce the amount of waste that's going into the environment. So with that, I would like to thank you for your time and attention, and happy to take questions.
All right, questions? Anybody? There's a mic. It's on.
Well, thanks thank you very much. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
And it's important. Two things, in fact, raise my interest. Two things. The impact on trees, forestry. That's one, because that's the first in the front of the production. Now, the other one is the back production. What is the byproduct of that? Is it very friendly, environment friendly, or we have to make sure that no such any carbonation or stuff like that's going to impact the atmosphere?
Yeah, those are two excellent questions. They're actually tied together, so perfect that you asked both of them. So you heard me talk a lot about recyclability and repulpability, and the recyclability key is very important to ensuring that we are not having a negative impact on deforestation, so enabling us to reuse paper fibers, and then instead of having to cut down a tree, make a paper product, and then we throw it away and we're done with it, and we take those fibers and we reuse them, and maybe we make a packaging box or a newspaper or something else. So we actually have organizations that are kind of across the paper industry, from forestry all the way to converting and packaging, focused on making sure that we do not do that. And the second part is, you also heard me talk about repulpability. What that means is essentially how well you can separate the coating from the paper, and that's also very important to make sure that the coating does not go in the same kind of recycled waste stream as those fibers. So we get out as close to virgin fibers as we can without the coating contamination, and then we take that coating and responsibly dispose of it instead of it getting out into the environment.
Another question here.
Hello. This is very strong, the market and the commercializability. Could you comment on the novelty? That's one of the judging criteria. You had the one slide where you had the 3 points that set you apart. But can you comment on competing technologies or companies that have similar products or approaches?
Yeah, certainly. So there are other companies playing in that kind of waterborne coating space. We have some innovative patented technology that enables us to make our materials in some of our materials in a different way than what other companies are doing. So that's one of the things that really helps us out, is we have a little bit wider of a polymer toolbox from which to start. We also work very closely with external organizations and partners to get a lot of those third-party certifications that give our customers and our end users the confidence that we are not making these claims. External third-party agencies are testing and making these claims for our materials. And so kind of the breadth of the platform, the polymer toolbox, and the certifications kind of broadly from those third-party organizations are all things that mesh together to make this kind of an innovative space.
Thank you.
One last question.
If I understand it correctly, you can recycle, you can repulp your material. The question is, what about the infrastructure you need to get it actually to the point where you can recycle it? The collection, the separation from all the other kind of coated paper that is out there.
Yep, that's a great question. And so that is part of our kind of external partnership, is not only working with universities and institutions with those recycling parameters in mind to make sure that we are designing materials that are not going to cause any additional problems or stoppages in that space, and then also working to bring some of those capabilities in-house so that we can reduce the demand on those places and start earlier in the platform or earlier in the development pipeline, taking those things into account. So making sure that when we separate our coating from the paper, that coating is not then going and like clogging up a separate part of the recycling equipment or line.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Andrea.